Welcome to this training about the Joshua Project data collection tool. Our goal today is to equip field workers, national and regional reps to submit accurate structured data from anywhere in the world. Let's get started. So the challenge is we are trying to keep up with a world that is robust and ever changing. Over 16,000 people groups in country, over 10,000 across country, and being tracked across 200 plus countries. Historically, Joshua Project has been curators of data, but we've received that through emails and spreadsheets and phone calls and inconsistent formats, and we've lost data, and there's not been historical views and lack of validation. And so what we're building is a three-prong approach to collecting, gathering, storing data to increase our confidence, accuracy, and transparency of data. And one of those prongs is through a tool called the Kobo Toolbox. So the first question we want to answer is, what is the Kobo Toolbox? First, it's a free open source data collection platform, and it's built for challenging environments. It works offline, it's multilingual, it has built-in validation for required fields and skip logic. It allows us to load our people group and country information into it. It's secure, it's trusted globally, and it's used by hundreds of humanitarian organizations working in difficult situations. How Joshua Project is going to use the Kobo Toolbox, and this may change, but primarily we're going to use a general data collection tool, which is gathering people group updates, population observations, ministry progress, phases of engagement, community changes, updates to our profile text, all in a single form. And it may sound like it's long, but we'll look at how the skip logic actually makes it streamlined for you to provide exactly what you need in a timely manner. The second way is formal change request, and this will be for adding new people groups, removing groups, merging groups, splitting groups, or reporting assimilation. Now the tool is available offline. Now you will have to download the form or open the form on a browser while you're connected to the internet, but you can fill the form in with zero internet connection, and whenever you're back online, you just hit the send button to upload your submissions. Any drafts are saved to your browser, so you have to make sure not to clear your cache on your browser or it will clear that. But multiple submissions can be queued and sent at once if you've been offline for a significant amount of time. Now, if you're offline, be sure to get everything downloaded before you travel. Battery and storage, it's not using a lot of storage. Most forms are under 5 megabytes, and so you can close the app because the data is saved locally. Web browser offline mode, Chrome will cache it for offline use. I would encourage you practicing using the forms offline before you travel. So turn your phone to airplane mode and see how it functions to make sure you don't accidentally lose information that you're gathering. Additionally, in some contexts, it may be better to use a printed form, and we'll be making printed forms available with the questions and space to write out that you can later input that information onto the form. Whenever you're working in secure locations, knowing that your data is protected is important. So all data is sent over a secure network. It's the same security as used as online banking. It goes to Joshua Project's dedicated Kobo Toolbox server, and only authorized JP staff can view submitted data. So currently, national reps can see the information for their country and no other. Regional reps can see the information for the region, and then more administrative staff who's working as like a research associate, director of people group data, they can see the data for the countries or regions that they oversee. And we actually ask for consent-based follow-up. If someone wants to submit information and ask us not to follow up, we will respect those wishes. So if you're entering information or you're coaching and training people to enter information into sensitive context, we still want to take priority of safety and safety of the communities to come as priority. So it would be good to use pseudonyms or initials in the field name if needed. The name is actually optional in the form. Provide an encrypted email address if that is preferred. Avoid specific location details down to village area. And focus on people group level information, not individual level details. People's names, things like that, we would suggest not entering that. So let's take a look at a live demo. So as you can see, this is the Kobo Toolbox form. And so I'm going to begin to enter my information to fill this in. And then I'm going to say, no, don't follow up with me because that is fine. And then I'm going to be reporting based off an interview of a local church leader. And again, notes on the informant, it's optional. And then I'm going to actually, let's reset this. So country, if you begin to type, so I'm going to type in, start to type, and you'll see it pop up, Philippines. And then the people group, this will have all of the people groups in the Philippines. And you can also begin to type. So the central, let's pick this group, that's the group. Now, if for some reason the people group is not findable, there's an option to select no. And then you're able to enter the people group name, language, and religion. But we did find it, so let's put that yes. And then it's going to ask us, this is the key area, what can you report today? So I'm not going to go through each of these. Phase of engagement would be between 0 and 7, so 8 phases of gospel progress. So if you click that, you're going to get a question of what phases, and it has a brief explanation, and then also a link to the phases of engagement booklet here. What activities are happening? I'm just clicking. And then, are these efforts focused on establishing self-sustaining churches consistent with evangelical faith and practice? How did you arrive to this? I think this question will be very helpful as we start to analyze is what is the geographic scope, and then you're able to enter that state name and then submit. Now, if you notice the source information questions, they are not required. So the required questions are very few. So if we uncheck phase of engagement, then you'll see the phase of engagement questions have disappeared. So then if you look at gospel progress, you have some questions about percentage Christian, asking that out of 1,000, percent range of evangelical. Again, question about the types of activities, and is it focused on starting self-sustaining churches? And again, how did you arrive to this information? Again, optional. Number of baptisms, because we can extrapolate some information from baptism, so it's baptism reference period, total number of baptized individuals, and again, how did you arrive at this? Population update, language update, people group location update. So if we have the information wrong, they can share where the people are located. If someone wants to provide updated text for the profile, qualitative insights about identity, prayer needs, stories. Someone wants to upload a photo. And then there is an other option where they can email or upload documents and submit. Core note I want to mention about this form is if you are interviewing someone, you are reporting this person's information as, and we're going to view it as firsthand because you're interviewing. If you're entering information for a self-report, same thing. But also we want to be able to capture secondary reports. And so secondary reports is maybe you have heard of something, and this will be weighed differently. But whenever you are self-reporting, interviewing someone, or coaching someone to self-report, whenever they are answering questions like phase of engagement, they should answer the phase of their work, not the phase that they think is happening. And so it's spelled out here. Select the highest phase that accurately describes your self-reporting or your interviewee, you're interviewing someone, the current work of this people group. Now, if someone is reporting as secondary reports, that's where you could say, well, I've heard this is happening. I've actually heard it's phase 6 and there's business as mission happening. So key distinction, but this tool is pretty self-intuitive. And once you get to the end, you can provide additional information, which would give some confidence and strength to that engagement, or we can hit submit now and submit. Now, form 2 is for structural changes. This form will be used significantly less, but this will be for adding, removing, merging, splitting, or assimilating people groups. So this is based off of the policies that we have for each of these. And the 2-barrier framework for most of these categories for structural changes is reassessing the barrier of understanding and the barrier of acceptance. So language and social boundaries. So we're going to rate a group high, moderate, low, or none based off these 2 social barriers. And then we're going to provide evidence documentation, especially anything for removing groups. We want to be fast to add and careful to remove. So either primary sources, which have a higher weight, or secondary corroborative sources. And this is some of the information that you're needing to add a people group. And so let's just take a look at this form real quick. So this is the structural change request form. So again, you'll see a lot of similarities. Name, organization, if applicable, email address. May we follow up? And then again, you're going to be able to select, you want to add a group, remove a group, merge, split, or report significant people group assimilation. So let's look at just add a group. Then you're going to start to get questions about add a group. So again, hey, how did you know about this information? So let's say it's an interview. And then we have to begin to say, okay, what country? What is the people group name? So this is not pulling up because this is adding a group. So you're going to actually type it in and then type in alternative names. Then their primary language. Primary religion is a dropdown. Estimated population. And let's say, well, we think it's 20,000, but really it's probably 15,000 to 25,000. Population confidence. Christian adherent, evangelical, phase of engagement. So some similarities. And then we're going to need to figure out what people cluster of people is in to add a new group. So we're asking, what are the groups that are most familiar or most similar linguistically, culturally, or religiously to this group? And then once we get that information for a couple groups, we can begin to identify what a potential cluster assignment would be. And ultimately, any comments, submit. And so we're not going to go through all of these. The add is probably one of the more robust. But if we go to just one that's maybe a little newer, that we want to start to capture assimilation. 3 levels of assimilation. Do we just need to give a partial assimilation tag, population adjustment, or hey, do we actually need to look to merge a group because it's highly assimilated? Reports. So you'll see that these reports or forms are actually much more robust, but we're talking making significant structural changes in the database, like adding, removing, or merging a people group. And what happens after you submit structural changes, your submission will come in. A peer may review it. This may be a research associate. The regional coordinator may review it if applicable. The director may need to review it for approval, and then we'll see the update in the database. So what I want you to hear is those who are on the mission field, your submission matters. A single field observation from you can actually correct years of outdated information. We don't know what we don't know. What you see on the ground can never be found online until it's recorded. So report what you know, note your confidence, and we'll handle the rest as we look at multiple incoming data points and trying to curate the most accurate information of the progress of the gospel among the nations for the glory of God in Christ Jesus. Now, we want to see this tool multiplied out, so consider training others who can train others or who can be catalysts in data collection. So as you're training others, keep it simple. Do a walkthrough on the form and let people practice. Some common questions. What if I don't know the answer? Skip it or make it blank or put I don't know. It's okay to skip it. What if you make a mistake? Submit a correction or contact us. You don't need an account with the direct web link. And if you don't have the internet, you can collect while offline. And then once you're online, you can send. How long does it take? The engagement survey could take 5 to 10 minutes. Structural changes will take longer, 10, 20, maybe even up to 30. Thank you. Now, take this form and go capture some data so that we can have the most clear picture of the remaining tasks so the church can prioritize her mission, giving, praying, and going to the glory of God in Christ Jesus.